welcome to what is our last regularly scheduled meeting of Jenks Aquarium Authority for this year. Today's Tuesday, December 20th of 2022. It is 5:03 p.m. and we're going to get underway with a roll call. Thank you, Mr. Mason.
Bonds, Montgomery,
Here.
Kaylin, Murray,
Here.
OJ,
Here.
Rowe,
Here.
Chair Box.
Here, thank you, sir. Item number 1 is consideration and appropriate action relating to a request for approval of tonight's consent agenda. Would anyone like to make a motion to approve our consent agenda?
Move to approve.
Second.
Thank you both. We have a proper motion and second on item 1. You can vote, please.
Montgomery,
Yes.
Murray,
Yes.
OJ,
Yes.
Rowe,
Yes.
Chair Box.
Yes, thank you. Item 2, we will poll. Item 3, Resolution 86, a resolution of support for the Oklahoma Aquarium Foundation's capital campaign called 20 for 20. We're on page 59 in our packet if anybody would like to follow along, and I think we're going to welcome Dr. Money to the stage for your, the podium rather, for your presentation.
Stage.
Chairman and trustees,
Steve.
thanks for giving me the opportunity to give an update. And that's really what I wanted to do. So I wanted to give an update on everything that's been happening really for the past couple of years, because that encompasses since I've been involved in that side of things. And then to tell you what's coming soon. And then the idea being that hopefully we can pass a resolution of support for the capital campaign, because then donors feel comfortable knowing that our governing body isn't going to go, wait a minute, no, we didn't sign on for that. So we'll start with this fundraising, and so this is 21-22, and just to break it up into percentages of where it's coming from, you see the bulk of it is state and local government, and that's going to be ODWC and City of Jenks. Federal government is the ARPA funding. Foundations are come behind state and local, and then corporations and then individuals are the smallest category. Then if you go to the next slide, it's broken down by dollars, and you see 384,000 state and local, federal government 182,000, foundations 224,000, corporations 204, and individuals 130,000 for a total of $1,124,281. And then so the designation where all of this money was allotted to, or what it's for, is 43% is for exhibits, and the bulk of that's going to be ODWC for Aquatic Oklahoma. That's going to be the meat of that. And then we have the protected species, the ARPA funding that came for our sea turtles, then Splash and Fish Friends, 14% of that is from Fish Friends, which I think is just fantastic, of course. Other is the 0.5%. That's going to be, there was some research donation that came in, and bricks. So that's what makes up those two. And then that little sliver on the top, that's unrestricted funds. And then the next one, I broke it down again into dollars, so you just kind of get a better rounded idea of where it came from, where it went, and what it's going to be used for or has been used for. So of course with Fish Friends, we were able to bring in 63% of our students at no cost, and that's due to this increased funding, and then Splash helped supplement quite a bit of that. And then our goal, of course, is to get that to 100% so that all school groups, public schools, can come in at no cost, because that helps to really close socioeconomic gaps in the region, in the community. So do you guys have any questions about that?
I do not. Questions from the trustees for Dr. Money?
Okay.
Wow.
So does the OAF, do you guys have to have the 990 complete by, like, is it May or June of
May.
the following calendar year? It might be helpful, I know that Counselor Lynn has asked about that. She obviously isn't here, but if you have a copy or some copies that could be provided.
And I should say, of course, the city of Jenks has been the #1 supporter of the aquarium for the past 25 years. This was just focused on money that came through the foundation, so thank you all for that.
And I would just make a comment that, I mean, just in the few years, in the last few years, it's been really pretty incredible, the amount of Fish Friends money that the aquariums received. And I mean, I don't know, we don't have percentages here, but you know, how much that's grown and how many more children get to come through because of that has been pretty remarkable.
It really has. It's been staggering for me. To be honest, it's such an easy ask. So I'm very lucky. You're very lucky that we have this nice, neat package that we can offer people, and it gets to the heart of education and STEM education specifically. So it's just getting in the room with the right people and being able to explain that. And I don't know that we've gotten a no yet for our Fish Friends.
Yeah, it'd be really,
donation.
and I don't know, Robert, because I don't know how that flows, but I would assume that we have numbers on how many kids Fish Friends was able to fund in, say, 18 versus what it was able to fund in 22.
Yeah, we have all of that.
We've got all that.
Because everything will go through JAA, and then JAA will then bill OAF for all those Fish Friends school groups. So we should have records on both
It'd
sides.
be fun to see.
Yeah.
And what's the majority funding for Fish Friends? Like, where does that funding come from?
The majority right now, I would say it's probably 50-50 between Splash, because we had a really successful Splash last year. And then we've had just several donors. We've had, of course, Phillips 66, we got GKFF back. QT is gonna donate to Fish Friends. That proposal is pending, but that's a really big deal because we haven't received a donation from Quick Trip in many, many years. So to get them back on board is huge. And I've met with them, and
The Cape Brewing folks.
the Cape Brewing folks, yeah, that was 20,000, 25,000 actually.
Yeah.
Phillips 66
The
was one, and
So go buy their beer.
then GKFF is back on board as well. GKFF, when we first approached them, said, we don't do those small donations anymore. And Dave said, well, come to the aquarium, let us give you a tour. And again, so I was able to explain that this is what we can offer students, and we have the research to back it up. So we did the pre and post surveys, and they said, okay, it was Josh Miller, who said, okay, we'll start giving again. Both QT and GKFF said we're gonna start small and then go from there. So that's exciting. So my proposal to GKFF was 25,000 this year, and I should know with it any day now, and it was 10,000 that we got last year. So hopefully we'll get the increased Fish Friends funding. But I have it all broken down. I can send you the spreadsheet if you'd like to see exactly where everything came from. Okay.
You have a timeline for the campaign?
Yes. So I apologize, I didn't bring the timeline that Crossroads has produced, but I do have an update. So we are still in the quiet phase right now, where it's just putting out as much of the aquarium into the public as we can, just really trying to saturate the market with the new logo, what's going on, the donations we've gotten. The ARPA funding was a big deal. That got a lot of interest from the community. So that's where we are right now. We've got OAF members are personally calling previous donors and donors that, like the Hardesties, have given every year, but just a little bit every year. But I've been talking to Michelle Hardesty, and she's going to come out after the first of the year. So is Bailey Siegfried. So that's again, we haven't. They actually still owe us about $90,000.
Yeah, just to give you an idea, I mean, that whole process is probably 18 months
Yes.
to, just shy of 2-year process for the capital campaign.
Right.
So it's, right now it's in the very, very early stages. So no, you haven't seen a whole lot about it because we're not at that point yet.
But you've seen us in the media, so
Yeah.
I hope that
Yeah.
that's been, you guys have seen us in the news a whole bunch. So And that's the point of right now. And then what we have, and so I did note some of the media highlights. ARPA funding being one, Dive with the Bull Sharks was really popular. Hello Marine, the carousel ribbon cutting was hugely popular. The logo reveal, all the media outlets in the region were represented there, so that was woohoo. And then Santa by the Sea was the most recent media push. What we have upcoming is what's called Sip and See, and the Lieutenant Governor, it's his idea, and we all went, why have we never thought of that? So it's going to be on January 20th at 6:30, and you can be expecting to receive an invite from his office here soon. I sent a calendar invite just so everybody knows it's coming. But the idea behind that, it's going to be more of a small and intimate gathering with our largest donors we've had over the past 20 years, or 20, 30 years. Plus, so we put in some ones that I'm pretty sure are like on that, they're right there. And I like the Hardesties, I think they're right there about to really give us some great funding. So those are included. And then the Lieutenant Governor is inviting just a handful from OKC. So people that he knows personally there that he thinks would be interested in donating. And then of course he will be there. And he's also following up and calling these donors. So that's such a great thing for us. So that'll be the first. And that Sip and See, we plan to have more than one over the course of the capital campaign. I think we'll probably have three if I'm estimating correctly, no more than four. And I spoke with Party Serve or Expo Serve, Group Serve, SIG last week, and he's very interested in helping us with the Sip and See, so I think he's actually gonna fund most of the catering in the bar. So he has a vested interest in the Lieutenant Governor and having that relationship, so that works well for us. Upcoming tours, donors that we will be interacting with soon, One Gas. So we have not gotten a big donation from One Gas ever. And it was Adam Abel. We were at a Tulsa Chamber event and he was sitting at the One Gas table and they jokingly said, well, put in a good word for us. He came up afterwards, he said, I was sitting next to their community development person and she wants to have lunch. And I went, perfect. So we'll be having lunch with them on the 20th and it's pushed again, the 20th, that's gonna be a big day, but they pushed it out because they are branching out into more of the state and they have a new state community development person that wanted to be able to be there as well. So Bailey Siegfried's coming after the first of the year and Michelle Hardesty as well. And those are my updates so far. If anybody has questions, I'm more than happy.
No, just make a couple of comments, because I'm also, Harvey and I are also on the committee. And, really we're pleased to get the Lieutenant Governor involved because as the Oklahoma Aquarium, one of the things we often struggle with is getting outside of the Tulsa area. And certainly that's going to help us tremendously with some of those groups. I mean, we do get donations from outside the Tulsa area. Don't think that we don't. But to really get to some of those other foundations that are more Oklahoma City oriented, we're pretty excited about his ability to maybe open a few doors there.
It's exciting. I'm really excited about what's happened over the past 2 years and definitely what's coming. I think that our 20th year, I think we can do it. I think we can get 20 million. I really do. So hold me to that.
Thank you, Dr. Money.
Absolutely.
And as a reminder, this resolution in summary for those attending that are not here, this campaign committee seeks to raise $20 million for the 20th year of the Oklahoma Aquarium's existence to fund projects into the next 20 years. The proposed projects will enhance the aquarium by building, remodeling, and/or expanding exhibits throughout the facility. The projects include but are not limited to a new stingray or shark touch and feed tank, remodels of the cold water, living coral, and redfish exhibits located in the eco zone, and the new large animal holding research facility. So a resolution of support from this body basically sends a loud and clear message to potential donors that we are all on the same page and we all support our Oklahoma Aquarium. So Unless there's any last minute questions or comments from the trustees, we can entertain a motion of support for item 3, resolution 86.
I will make that motion that we do vote on resolution 86 and show our support for this.
Second.
Thank you. We have a proper motion and a second for item 3. Let's vote, please.
Montgomery,
Yes.
Murray,
Yes.
Ogier,
Yes.
Rowe,
Yes.
Chair Box.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Money. Item 4, potential executive session for purposes of conferring on matters pertaining to economic development, including the transfer of property, the creation of a proposal designed to entice a business to locate within the city of Jenks where the public disclosure of the matter would would interfere with the development of the products or services or would violate the confidentiality of the business. We're talking tonight specifically about the Riverfront Tourist Commercial District, the aquarium campus in and around the area of 106th Street and Elm. Can we have a motion to
I move to adjourn.
enter executive session? Thank you. You have a motion and a second. Let's vote.
Montgomery,
Yes.
Murray,
Yes.
Ogier,
Yes.
Rowe,
Yes.
Chair Box.
Yes, sir. Thank you. We will return shortly. session. We apologize for being late. As a result, we're gonna skip tonight's staff report, and we're gonna be adjourned here at, what is it? 6:06 PM.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
We don't need a motion in
Oh,
adjournment.
okay, good.
Anymore. Thank you all very much.
Seconded anyway.
This is the habit.
Today is Tuesday, December 20th of 2022. It is approximately 6:10 PM. Looks like most of us are here. It's our last opportunity to conduct the business of the city of Jenks. And Mr. Mason, will you please verify our attendance?
Murray,
Here.
Klein, present. Short.
Here.
OJ,
Here.
Kaylin, Isabel. Here. Mayor Box.
Here. Thank you, sir. And for tonight's invocation, we welcome back Pastor Ellie Berry from Light Church. Merry Christmas, man. How are you?
I'm doing well, how are you?
Very well, thank you.
That's great. God, we come before you right now thankful for the opportunity to gather together, and thank you for the opportunity to talk about things that impact the city of Jenks. Would you bless this time? I pray protection over every single person making decisions, for unity, for wisdom, and safety as it gets even colder going into the holidays. Thank you in Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thank you, Pastor. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Oh, you didn't finish it.
No friends, okay. All right, let's skip our animal welfare spotlight and we'll move on to citizens or public comments. If you are here tonight and you would care to address the council on any matter of business that is currently not on tonight's agenda, you are welcome to do so. I know you, nobody here. Okay, very well. We will close the floor to citizens' comments. We'll move on to item number 1 under general business, which is tonight's consent agenda. Would anyone like to make a motion for approval of item number 1?
I move to approve.
Second.
Thank you both. We have a proper motion and a second to approve item 1. Let's vote.
Murray,
Yes.
Klein,
Yes.
Short,
Yes.
OJ,
Yes.
Isbell. Yes, Mayor Box.
Yes, sir. Item 2, full. Item 3 is PA 22-25. Request for a comprehensive land use map amendment from business park to high-intensity single-family. General location being Highway 75 and 111th Street. They're on page 79 in your packet. If you'd like to follow along, I don't see Mrs. Hilton, so will somebody be speaking on behalf of number 3?
Yes, Ms. Hilton is sick, so I will do my best here. So this property at Highway 75 and 111th, north of 111th, about 10 or 15 years ago, a PUD was approved for St. Francis Hospital and related commercial and some residential development. Because of the configuration of the egress and ingress off of Highway 75, St. Francis eventually abandoned their plans to build a location there and moved their hospital to 151st and Highway 75 in Glenpool. Since that time, the land is sat vacant. The owner of the land at the time, which was the Warren Building Foundation, I believe, has deeded it or plans to give it to Habitat for Humanity. They would like to change the comprehensive plan, which right now is business park, to high-intensity residential. The Planning Commission heard this at their last meeting. Staff recommended denying that on the grounds that we only have so much frontage on Highway 75, and we've allowed some residential on Highway 75 in the past, and we've come to see that it was a mistake. For instance, Staplehurst, that main street in Highway 75, is a neighborhood that's slightly set back off of Main Street to the north. After that was developed, we had Core Hospital go in and build a medical complex. They're wanting to expand right now, but they have nowhere to go because the neighborhood is basically locked them in. And I think, if we have to look, I say this all the time, but when we're looking at decisions we make in land use for a city that we think is going to be here for another 100, 200, 500, 600 years, we only have so many pieces of commercial property, and especially only so many pieces of commercial property that are along a highway like this. And I think it would be a big mistake long-term to allow a residential use where we could potentially have a high-density commercial use that, right now we have very few pieces of large acreage that are available for commercial development. We have 121st on Highway 75, the Aquarium Campus, the River District, but that's largely it. So I think that Marseille's recommendation to deny this application from, to amend the comp plan from business park to high-intensity residential is the correct recommendation. That is my recommendation as well. And we would love for Habitat for Humanity to do some sort of residential development within Jenks, but just not along the Highway 75 corridor. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Thank you, Mr. Stroud. Any questions from council on my right? Okay. Questions on my left? All right, very well. Just keep in mind that we are voting on whether or not we're changing making amendments. So please include in your motion, if you're willing to make one, whether or not you are amending that we approve this or proposing that we do not approve the amendment. And then we will entertain a motion for such if somebody's ready to do so.
The public hearing was on.
Yeah, we already had that.
Thank you.
The applicants were not here.
They said they said they didn't need to speak unless council had specific questions.
Okay. Yeah. Are you part of the applicant, ma'am?
Yes.
Oh, you are? Would you like to come forward and address the council?
Sure.
Okay, thank you. We'll go ahead and close the floor to the council, and if you could just give us your name and title and the association Habitat for Humanity, it'd be much appreciated.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate the opportunity to be here tonight. My name is Vicki Jordan. I'm the Vice President of Housing for Tulsa Habitat for Humanity and its sister affiliate. I'm the President for Boomtown Development. So we were indeed gifted this property by the Warren Foundation, and can't blame a girl for trying. Everybody wants to be out here in Jenks, and so it's a very generous donation to us. And we did plan a site plan and provided that to the planning commission, to Marseille. Brandon had looked at it. Our thought was to provide apartments on the side closest to 75. We were planning out 35 mixed income apartments right there. They would be flat roof, brick exterior, and then on the other parcel that was closest to the housing addition, we were planning single family homes. I believe there were 12 or 13 of those single family homes, and then 3 sets of duplexes in there. We built, because there's a line that runs diagonally across the property, we had to kind of be a little bit creative on how we put housing on the land. So we did build in a walking park, walking track in there in the middle. So that was indeed our hope. Mixed income, we wanted to do that, workforce housing, affordable housing. And we did have a meeting with the planning commission a couple of weeks ago, and as you said, that was denied. And so if you have any questions, or if anybody has any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Thank you. Any questions from Mrs. Jordan while we have her here? Anyone?
I think we'd be more than happy to work with you in other areas of Jenks, if you were willing to swap the land or do something else, but.
I appreciate that very much.
And I'd like to say this too, and Mr. Walker's not here, but I don't know how long I've been doing. How long, Craig, we've been doing this 6 years? Not too many people come to us with an ask, get a heck no from the planning commission, have a small mob of people come up and still keep a smile on your face. So I don't know what you're doing or who you're praying to, but God bless you. Merry Christmas. You're one of the nicest groups of people I've ever had to sit in a conference room with. And it was very difficult to even consider a no months ago when I don't know how long ago we met you, but you guys are a model of how entities should do business with municipalities, and we do appreciate you regardless.
Thank you very much. We appreciate the opportunity to visit with you guys, and I do appreciate the option about the land swap.
Thank you, Mrs.
Merry
Jordan.
Christmas,
Merry
everyone.
Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Okay, council, we've had a chance to hear from Mrs. Jordan. We will close the floor to the applicant. I don't think there's anyone else that wishes to speak. So if there's any last minute, I'm thinking you, Mr. Isabella, you're primed and ready to make a motion we can consider.
At this point in time, I would like to make a motion to deny PA 2225 request for a comprehensive land use map amendment from business park to high-intensity single family.
A second.
Thank you. We have a motion to deny PA 22-25 amendment to the comprehensive land use. So if you are in favor of the denial, please vote with a yes, or if you would support, please vote with a no. Vote please.
Murray,
Yes.
Klein,
Yes.
Short,
Yes.
OJ,
Yes.
Isabel,
Yes.
Mayor Box.
Yes. Thank you, sir. Item number 4 is ordinance number 1603 relating to Jenks zoning 22-683, changing the zoning of 418 West Main Street from CG, which is commercial general, to CS, which is commercial shopping. We are on page 130. Mr. Shrout, we have you again, my friend.
I will allow Brandon to do this one.
All right,
Yes,
Mr. Macy.
I will be a lot less verbose than Ms. Hilton typically is. Essentially, this lot is on Main Street right next to Coney Islander. They are seeking a zone change from CG to CES due to bulk and area requirements related to a Roy's Chicken that plans to go in there. The CES has a lead, better setbacks, that benefits their site plans and everything. So we are seeking the zone change for that. It was approved by Planning Commission 5-1. The one no vote being Chair West was absent that night. No public comments or questions were heard or received via email. Staff recommends approval.
Thank you, Mr. Macy. Any questions from the council on my right for Mr. Macy?
One
Mr.
question,
Isbell.
and this is just to make me feel better. The the change would be a 0-foot frontage, just a sidewalk. Would that impede Date Street traffic from seeing around the corner? That's the only question I really have.
Mr. Macy.
No.
It wouldn't.
We,
Make me feel good.
I believe one of their site plans did have access off of Date Street.
Mhm.
And in those site plans, it was not an issue at all.
Okay, thank you.
If you want to feel really good, we can let you ask that question to Bart later on, or if you want to. If you don't
Okay.
feel satisfied, you can get your time of flesh.
No,
Okay, any questions, council on my left?
I'm good.
All right, very well. We can close the floor to council. We can invite the applicant to come forward if you would like to. If you'd like to make any comments, you may. You don't have to.
We don't really have any comments, so.
Okay. You feel pretty good about the way he answered that question?
Yeah, be happy to answer any other questions.
Okay. If there's no questions for Bart, we'll let him sit. Okay, very well. Thank you. You're gonna make him come up?
I was gonna make a motion that we approve.
Okay, well, hold on, we're gonna definitely open up. We'll go ahead and close the floor to the applicant. We can open the floor to citizen comment. Anybody like to comment on this particular zone change? I think I know everybody here. I know you're good with it, so cop in the back is falling asleep, so he didn't care, not you, the other one. So I think we are good. So we will close the floor to any citizens comment. We'll bring it back to council. And Mr. Murray, we are welcome of that motion now if you'd like to make it.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to make a motion that we approve ordinance number 1603, replacing JZ 22-683, changing from commercial general to commercial shopping.
I'll second that.
Thank you, gentlemen. We have a proper motion and a second. Item number 4, let's vote, please.
Murray?
Yes.
Klein?
Yes.
Short?
Yes.
OJ?
Yes.
Isabel?
Yes.
Mayor Box?
Yes, item 5 is the emergency clause for ordinance number 1603.
So moved for the emergency clause.
And second.
Thank you, gentlemen. We have a proper motion and a second for the emergency clause, item 5.
Murray?
Yes.
Klein?
Yes.
Short?
Yes.
OJ?
Yes.
Isabel?
Yes.
Mayor Box?
Yes, thank you. Item 6 is ordinance number 1604 relating to Jenks zoning 22-684, changing the zoning at 411 West A Street from RS3, which is single family residential, to CS for commercial shopping. We will be on page 136, and this is either Mr. Schraub or Mr. Macy. Who's taking this one?
I am taking this one as well.
All right.
This is the lot pretty much directly due east of the City Hall, right next to Mojo's Coffee. We are planning, I do not believe we've sold it yet, we're planning to sell it to Mojo so they can build a parking lot. You are not allowed to build a parking lot on a residential lot, hence the zone change to CS. This was taken to council, or to the planning commission at the same meeting, 5-1 as well, with Chair Scott being absent. There was one comment, both emailed myself and Marseille, and it showed up at the planning commission meeting. It's the neighbor just to the north of that property. She's worried about her access off of the alley. That's how she gets into her garage, but this will not be impeding the alley in any way. So she shouldn't have an issue as long as she uses the alley the way it's supposed to be. Staff recommends approval.
Thank you, Mr. Mason. Any questions from council from Mr. Mason? Any questions? All right, we'll close the floor to the council. I don't think the Mojo's team is here, so nobody here from citizens would like to speak for or against this rezoning. So the floor is closed and we can move on and entertain a motion on item number 6.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Thank you all. We have a proper motion and second to item 6. Let's vote, please, sir.
Murray?
Yes.
Klein?
Yes.
Short?
Yes.
OJ?
Yes.
Isabel?
Yes.
Mayor Box?
Yes, sir. Item 7 is the emergency clause for said ordinance number 1604.
Move to approve.
And a second.
Thank you. Let's vote, please.
Murray?
Yes.
Klein?
Yes.
Short?
Yes.
OJ?
Yes.
Isabel?
Yes.
Mayor Box?
Yes, sir. Item 8, authorization to pay the invoice for construction costs for the Main Street Improvement Project, the TSU Railroad to Date Street, ODOT project number STP 3155004, in the amount of $2,026,882.65 Funding for the same to be paid from a supplemental appropriation from the 2020 General Obligation Bond Fund to account number 278605393, also known as the Main Street Improvements, Roads, and Bridges. Thank you, Mr. Cloyd. We are on page 142. How are you tonight, sir?
Good, sir. How are you?
Hanging in there.
Mr. Mayor, members of City Council and staff, the item that's before you is concerning the Main Street project. Just a brief reminder, this project is improving Main Street from First Street to near Elm Street and then Birch Street from Main Street down to Veterans Drive. All the right-of-way has been acquired. The utility relocation is almost completely finished. There's one more utility that's about to be done, that's PSO. And then, so right now we're scheduling the project letting for February of 2023, so it's coming up pretty close. However, before letting happens, we have to have all of the construction funds on deposit with ODOT. Therefore, they've sent us the invoice that you can see as part of the packet. The funding is, the memo and the mayor just mentioned, is coming from a supplemental appropriation from the 2020 GO Bond Fund, as well as some future ODOT reimbursements on some already constructed projects. Staff requests authorization of payment of this invoice. Are there any questions?
Thank you, Mr. Cloyd. Any questions from council?
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, sir.
Not putting you on the spot, Mr. Cloyd, but I know a number of times you have had to come back and ask for additional funds because there's always those little near sites that get missed and stuff. And I know it's an engineering nightmare a lot of times, not knowing what's in certain places. Have we or ODOT checked this one fairly well, that we're not going to get hidden?
Like we did on 11.
I will,
And I know
I'm
it's
going
not
to
putting you on the
speak like
spot, but
someone in the Navy. I will neither confirm nor deny it.
That's a good answer.
Yeah, I mean, I think I would
Unknown
anticipate
unknowns.
that on a project like this, is there gonna potentially be a change order for any number of reasons? Potentially, and are we gonna bear a portion of that? Probably. But this is an ODOT project, we're just providing a portion of the funding, so.
But ODOT did the engineering?
No, it was done by a private contractor, private consultant, that we reviewed the plans, ODOT's reviewed the plans. We've done the best we can as far as trying to find everything, but, things will come up potentially.
And it's probably been asked before, if it ever comes back and they find something was missed, is that private engineering firm ever held accountable for any of it?
My knowledge so far, it's not, other than the fact that we're very reluctant to do future business.
Do business with them, okay, okay.
That's the main thing, but I have not heard of us going after them for some of that funding.
Well, I just wanted to throw it out there for conversation. Thank you.
The beauty about being an engineer is there's nobody smart enough to question what you're doing. So we just keep paying the bills, probably.
Yeah.
Isn't that how it works, Mr. Cloyd?
Not necessarily, not necessarily. I've heard some really good,
That's what he thinks.
I've heard some really good questions from the city manager that I've scratched my head and no, I didn't think about that.
You know, as Mr. Cloyd comes to us right for Christmas with a $2 million check.
Yeah.
Merry Christmas. Nice to meet you.
You won't get to be Santa Claus hopefully tonight.
Yeah.
Approve a lot of money for the city to approve some things.
All right. Well, we threw a softball question at you. I think that's all we have, right? Very well. Thank you. Appreciate you.
Are you sure Councilor Isbell does not have a question?
Well, I just want to make one comment.
Of course.
No. With the expansion of Main Street from Elm to Highway 75, there were some unknowns there with utilities that were found and things that we had to come back and take care of. So I see that as that opportunity might arise again with this one as well, because the road's been there for how many years? 80 years, et cetera.
Well, the reality is it's a 124-year-old city.
Right.
We're heading into the epicenter of the city.
Yes,
So
we're going to
there's
find
likely going to be something that is going to come up.
You brought that project up, and that is one of the projects we're seeking to try to get some reimbursement on as far as getting the final accounting closed out. And we do expect there might be some reimbursement, so that might be something to help fund this project, or at least reimburse us for some of that.
Nice.
I'm glad I brought it up then. Thank you.
While you're here, Mr. Cloyd,
Yes,
can you
sir.
explain to us and our online audience what the word letting means?
that is basically publishing or allowing contractors to bid on a project. And we're letting that project out so that contractors can bid on it.
Very well, thank you, Mr. Clay, appreciate you, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right, we are currently on number 8. They are asking us our permission to make this invoice, so we will need somebody to make a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Thank you all. We have a motion and a second to authorize item 8. Let's vote, please.
Murray?
Yes.
Klein?
Yes.
Short?
Yes.
OJ?
Yes.
Isabel?
Yes.
Mayor Box?
Spend some money tonight.
Yes, sir. Item number 9 is resolution number 787, a resolution amending the annual appropriations by $1,288,500 in account number 278605393, also known as the city's 2020 general obligation bond fund for Main Street improvements, roads, and bridges for fiscal year ending of June 30th, 2023, to fund the payment to ODOT for the city's portion of the construction cost of the Main Street improvement project, the one we just talked about. Mr. Saceda, do you, would like to make a comment on this item?
This is the resolution.
This is
that we
the
need
resolution?
Per state law.
Okay. So everybody understands this is the tag team to item number 8. There's no questions for Mr. Saceda. We can entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Thank you both. We have a motion and a second to approve resolution 787, item number 9. So please.
Murray?
Well, Mr. Saceda, can you, no, never mind, yes.
Klein? Yes. Short?
Yes.
OJ?
Yes.
Isabel?
Yes.
Mayor Box?
Yes, thank you. Item 10 is potential executive session for purposes of conferring on matters pertaining to economic development, including the transfer of property or the creation of a proposal to entice a business to locate within the city of Jenks where public disclosure of the matter discussed would interfere with the development or products and services or violate the confidentiality of the business. We're talking tonight about the Riverfront Tourist Commercial District, more specifically the aquarium campus located in and around 106th Street and Elm. Can we please have a motion to enter executive session?
Motion that we enter executive session?
Second.
Thank you both. Let's vote, please.
Murray?
Yes.
Klein? Yes. Short?
Yes.
OJ?
Yes.
Isabel?
Yes.
Mayor Box?
Yes, thank you. We will return. You can join us. Thank you for your patience. The city council has returned from executive session at 6:52 PM. No votes were cast. We are moving on to our city manager's report. Mr. Shroud.
Mayor and all members of council, our sales and use tax continues its trend of increasing year over year. This last month for December, we had a 6% increase year over year. Use tax was a 14% increase, and total collections are 8% higher than the same month last year. For the first 6 months of the year, combined sales and use tax is 15% higher than last year. Low water dam, the deadline for third-party funding for the endowment for the dam is December 31st. All of the stakeholders have been working hard to try to find a solution, and the Muskogee Nation has a meeting to vote on a memorandum of understanding outlining how they will help fund the low water dam tomorrow at noon. So tomorrow afternoon, hopefully we'll know if we have that project fully funded. Slate Creek, Wood Creek, Country Woods 2, Country Hollow, and South Woods pavement improvements. In order to perform microsurfacing in an amount large enough to attract bidders, staff is combining the pavement rehabilitation, crack sealing, and microsurfacing of the Slate Creek subdivision. If you'll remember, we went out for bids, I guess that was August. Yeah, August, and no one was interested in doing it, so staff has basically combined all these neighborhoods to make it kind of worth contractors' while to bid on those. Elm Street sidewalk, we're gonna have surveyors out on Elm Street from B to K Place on the 21st through the 23rd. What's that?
I found out today that that's been moved to January 4th through the 6th. They're going through similar sicknesses as a lot of people are, so.
So it's not gonna happen tomorrow. Thank you for the update, Chris. And Chris has sent a letter to the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers requesting that at 106th and Elm, where there's an old farm pond that we originally, I think we needed that land deed restricted because we were removing land for the Elwood project. So it wasn't deed restricted, but we had to remove deed restricted land on Elwood that ODOT or OTA owned, but now we might need that land where the farm pond is to extend 106th Street and have a developable corner. So Chris has sent a letter, and we eagerly await what the Army Corps of Engineers response will be. We continue to work with the school on discussing the terms of a new TIF for the existing TIF 2. Our upcoming events, Christmas break for city staff is Friday, December 23rd through Monday, December 26th. So Friday and Monday, City Hall will be closed. We'll be closed on January 2nd, which is a Monday in observance of the New Year's holiday. We'll also be closed on January 16th for Martin Luther King Day. We have the Jenks Chamber Lunch, which I don't have a date on here, but it's State of Education with Rob Labor. We have the Tulsa Annual Meeting and Inauguration for their chamber on Thursday, January 26th at noon. That evening, we have the Jenks Chamber Banquet from 6:30 to 9:30 at River Spirit Casino. We have Splash that doesn't have a date, but I'll update that. And then One Voice Day at the Capitol is March 6th and 7th. And I believe INCOG usually has some sort of legislative reception in January, and as soon as we know that date, we will let you know. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Thank you, sir. Any questions for Mr. Shroud on our update?
Do you want to talk about the?
Oh, and we have City Hall closed Friday, Monday, and then also the following Monday, which is the 2nd, and we have a city council meeting scheduled for January 3rd. We don't have items that need to go at this time for the 3rd, so we were wondering about potentially canceling that meeting. So if we don't have items, we will recommend that we not have that meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Shroud.
If I may add,
Yes, sir.
real quick here, the INCOG sent me an email to save the date. As we, invite you to be our guest as we honor our region's elected officials, Wednesday, January 18th, 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. So that's the date for the INCOG event.
I'm sure
I'll forward
Sarah
this.
will probably send out a reminder to everyone as well. Thank you, Mr. Israel. Speaking of that, we didn't have any you had an incog meeting, any updates you wanna share? Last call for 2022. Air quality reports,
We did-
smog,
We didn't have any air
particles
quality
per million,
reports.
anything?
It was just business as usual and paid some bills, basically. They talked about some Christmas celebrations in the shoot at Sepulveda.
Good.
And some other things going on, Broken Arrows, Christmas celebration, et cetera. But that was about it.
Have you been to Sepulveda to shoot yet?
Twice.
Okay, good. I finally went last night. Everybody been? Charming street, very charming. They did a
And
great
if you
job.
want reservations at the restaurant there,
Good luck.
the butchery, I believe it's called, get them at least 2-3 days in advance if you want to have dinner down there.
Yeah, it was a 3-hour wait last night.
Yes.
Needless to say, we didn't go. All right, let's go ahead and, unless anyone has anything they'd like to mention, to close out the year, the floor is yours. If not, I too would like to skip any mayor's report. I think everything I've been focused on the last 3 weeks, Mr. Strout's already updated you on. Tomorrow is a huge day for Tulsa County, for Tulsa, for the state of Oklahoma. So we, for those of you that do, go home and pray that smarter minds will prevail tomorrow, and the Muskogee Nation will choose to shake our hand and partner with us and build a dam, and that would be a great thing. So let's hope that happens tomorrow. I'd also encourage you guys to keep up your relationships with our local school partners, as our city manager is working hard to renegotiate and revitalize our TIF districts there. So anything you guys can do to make sure our relationships are strong, that would be much appreciated. And the last thing I'll say is to all our city's employees and all our residents in Jenks, this is the last time we get to meet this year, so I wish you all a very Merry Christmas. You guys are, I think, I will speak for the council, because I guess that's what I get to do on occasion, but we really appreciate everything you guys do, and we look forward to even better and more successful 2023. And for our residents who do pay attention and who do log in and join us or watch these after the fact, wish all of you a Merry Christmas. Pray that God blesses all of you, and that as the preacher, as our pastor said earlier when we started, we got a rough couple of days ahead of us, potentially for safety. So I hope everybody is safe and the pipes stay intact. And then I sure hope that our firefighters and our cops and our public works guys don't have to get out in the next couple of days and fix anything that's wet. So, but anyway, God bless y'all. Merry Christmas. And if there's nothing else, do one more thing. I was on a roll.
Chief Jackson said that we had 4 dogs adopted recently, so.
Four today.
4 today.
Josh is working on the 5th.
All right.
Awesome. Hey, are these adoptions coming from our residents, or what's the demographic? Where they come from?
They're coming to Tulsa County, so as soon as I'm posting them, anyone I'm hashtagging Tulsa County, everything, so we're getting a lot from, we had one of our shepherd dogs from a resident of Wasso, so they're coming from everywhere, and we're gonna have a big event next week for our new litter of puppies. So everyone come PD, look at all the puppies, and hopefully we get a lot of turnout for that.
And we're still waiving adoption fees to the end of the year.
That's the thing we're doing this December, we're waiving all adoption fees.
How many dogs we got left?
We're full.
Oh, we're
Yeah,
full.
full,
Okay.
maxed out.
Yeah.
Okay. That's been to get them out.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys. Appreciate the effort, and thanks to all of you guys out there that are adopting our animals. Very much appreciated. So, unless there's nothing else, Merry Christmas. It is 7:02 p.m. and we are adjourned. The business tonight, Jenks Public Works Authority. Roll call, please.
Murray?
Here.
Klein?
Present.
Short?
Here.
OJ?
Sorry, yes, sorry.
Kayla?
We were talking about.
Isabel?
Here.
Chair Box?
Here, thank you, sir. We are underway. Item number 1 is consideration and appropriate action for tonight's consent agenda. Would someone like to?
Move to approve.
Second.
Thank you all. We have a proper motion second to approve item 1, so please.
Murray.
Yes.
Klein.
Yes.
Short.
Yes.
O'Shea.
Yes.
Isabel.
Yes.
Chair Box.
Yes, thank you. Item 2 is pulled. And Mr. Stroud, anything else?
No, sir.
Very well, 7:03. We are adjourned. Merry Christmas.
Yeah, we took it.
Well, how much?